What's cracking, hockey fans? Eric Lindsay Ayala, your host of Locked On Kraken. This episode of Locked On Kraken on the first ever regular season game day is brought to you by rockauto.com. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. As you can tell, I've got my swag. We've got the deep dive lights going. We're getting ready for game night in Las Vegas against the Golden Knights. We're going to give you updates on the captains, updates on the roster, all that and more coming up on this episode of Locked on Kraken.
You are Locked On Kraken, your daily podcast on the Seattle Kraken, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
We are the Seattle Kraken.
All right, Kraken fans, again, it is game day in Las Vegas. For today's show, again, we're going to go over captains. We're going to go over some game notes. As you may know, the Seattle Kraken and the Las Vegas Golden Knights, the record combined is 0-0 against each other. Never faced off in the preseason, never faced off in the regular season. The two newest teams to the National Hockey League will go head-to-head tonight. It's 10 p.m. Eastern, so what is that, 7 p.m. Local time in Seattle. We're going to have a good time. But first, let's get into the vibe, right? Because there's some news that we have to talk about that kind of bummed me out yesterday. We're going to get to that. But first, let's just get a taste of what we saw when the Seattle Kraken at the expansion draft were announced. Just a reminder of what it is that we're getting ready to embark on today.
What does it mean to be a Seattleite? It's hope, rooted in the ground we walk, pushing forward with our eyes on the horizon, knowing where we came from and where we aspire to be. It's innovation and growth, building on each other's ideas until they soar. If one of us is good, then all of us are great. We take pride in who we are, realizing that when we bring our true selves to the table, we can transform the world. Each person, a collective droplet in the tides of change. We remember the heritage of our city and the journey of our ancestors, honoring the heroes of yesterday, today, and tomorrow. You see, being a Seattleite isn't just a title, but a way of living. It's a delicate yet brilliant fusion of hustle and heart that sets us apart. Now, 30 names will be summoned to represent all of Seattle and its people. Some call it a draft, we call it destiny. The fates, aligning the crest on the front with the name on the back. And with them come the eyes and ears of the hockey world. So Seattle, let's show them who we are. We aren't just a stop on the schedule, we're the whole damn show. When the spotlight comes to us, we'll show them exactly what the Emerald City's made of. Each and every one of us, from the east and to the west, the mountains to the water, we're home to the best and loudest fans sports has to offer. Every Seattle, a voice in our sound, so let them hear us. The stage is set. Your city, your team, Seattle. It's time.
All right, let's go. Let's go. Woo! That video continues to be fire. As y'all know, I am not from Seattle. I do not claim Seattle in any way, except for I have a homie that lives out there, is buying a house, actually. But I love that video. I thought Sharon killed it with the narration. So that's what we're excited for. And additionally, with that, we have the captains for the Seattle Kraken were named yesterday. Probably no surprise, but it's Mark Giordano with the C officially for the Seattle Kraken. The first ever Seattle Kraken captain is the longtime Calgary Flames captain, but alongside Gio, the defenseman, we also have Adam Larson, another defenseman, and then forwards Yanni Gord, Jordan Eberle, and Jaden Schwartz as far as other alternate captains. I really like these picks. I've told you about the Triple J line. I love what we're seeing, what we've seen from the Triple J line. Larson and Yanni Gord, other good choices. And so we'll hear from Dave Haxtell on the show a little bit later, and we're going to hear from Gio in just a minute. But from the press conference that the Seattle Kraken did, or media availability that the Seattle Kraken did before heading out to Vegas, here is essentially how the team captains were selected. We heard from Ron Francis on the opening day of training camp and from Dave Haxtell that they hadn't made any decisions. They were going to take some time to think about it. Ron Francis and his team, Dave Haxtell and the coaches, they made observations from their respective vantage points and felt that these players really stood out in how they were communicating, how they were able to, kind of take in what Dave in particular and his staff were putting out for the team. I think, you see that, and I know we had Allison Lukin on, and we talked about the Tuckman model, and we talked about forming, storming, norming, all of the different parts of building leadership. What I like about what Gio said, and again, we'll hear from him in just a bit, but he knows what kind of a leader he is, but he also knows that the success of the Seattle Kraken team is going to depend on everyone wearing a letter as well as everyone on the roster. So let's head over to what Gio said. Now, I do want to let you know that this was kind of a mixed media, but the audio should be better. We didn't have microphones when I was in Seattle, so you couldn't hear the questions. But for this, you should be able to hear the questions. You'll also notice that Gio is wearing a mask. A little bit more on that later in the show. But for right now, let's head over to your captain of the Seattle Kraken, the first ever captain of the Seattle Kraken, Mark Giordano.
Darren Brown.
Sorry, Darren, cut you off there, but I just want to, point out again that Gio knows that his leadership style is to lead by example, and that example is setting an example of leadership for other people. So I thought that was pretty cool. But coming up next on Locked On Kraken, we're going to hear from one of the alternate captains, Yanni Gourde. We're also going to talk about where Yanni Gourde is going to start the season, and unfortunately, who is going to be right alongside with him. But first, let me tell you about BetOnline.ag. We're actually going to go over some BetOnline odds for this game. But right now, of course, a lot of people are very focused on football. But of course, we know that changes today. But I want to let you know that betonline.ag is your place to go if you are looking for pro and college football odds in particular. You can use your mobile device, you can use your laptop, whatever you got, and you can receive a 50% welcome bonus if you sign up today using our promo code LOCKED on. But remember, it's not just football. As I said, we're going to get into the betonline.ag odds for this game to get you ready for tonight in case you want to put a little money on it. I mean, I know I made some bold predictions, so we'll see what happens. But from football to hockey to basketball to even, speaking of Vegas, your favorite casino games, betonline.ag is where you need to go to make sure that you are taking advantage of all of the amazing offers available on the new revamped site, new interface in 2021. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all of your favorite sports, and BetOnline is where the game starts. But in case you, like myself, are going through some FOMO and you're not able to make it out to Las Vegas, but shout out, I mean, we see Jeff is out there. We see Paul is out there. Women's pro hockey to Seattle made the trip. I'm so excited for all of y'all. But for those of us who aren't, it's time for us to get our TV together. And that's when, of course, we're going to talk about DirecTV Stream. This is a simple way to get all of the entertainment you love without the hassle. We want to watch the Kraken game. Maybe you want to dabble and figure out what's happening in football. There's baseball, WNBA finals start again tomorrow. So don't worry about juggling remotes, logins, none of that. One device, one mechanism. Get your TV together with DirecTV Stream. And the best part is no annual contract. Head over to directv.com to find out more about how to get your TV together with DirecTV Stream. All right. We now are going to switch gears. And the excitement, of course, is that it's a game day. The excitement, of course, is that it's a clean slate. This Seattle Kraken team has never taken the ice in the regular season. But I got to keep it real. There was some news that we got yesterday that was a little bit concerning. I mean, right now over on social media, if you're not following Locked On Kraken, you should definitely do that. Follow us on Twitter, follow us anywhere on social media. But right now, our name is Locked On COVID Protocol. And the thing is, I talked about COVID protocol on yesterday's episode. The YouTube episode went up right away, and it wasn't until actually the COVID list came out that I realized that the podcast hadn't gone up. So thanks. I believe it was Jeff who was hitting me up like, hey, what does this mean? Okay, so what's the news? We have multiple players that have entered into COVID protocol. As a matter of fact, let's hear from Dave Haxtell yesterday, him going over exactly what to expect with this lineup.
It seemed like you were short 4 guys out there for skate this morning. Was that maintenance day or is there something else going on?
Yeah, no, let me just update everybody here. Blackwell is obviously was not out. He has not skated yet. He's out indefinitely. Gordy's still day to day. He was on the ice today. And then Jojo McCann, Donskoy, Jamie Alexiak, and Yarny are in COVID protocol. So they were not on the ice today.
Tough. That's really tough. So you heard there that Dave Haxtell talking about missing a handful of guys. No Colin Blackwell, out indefinitely. Yanni Gourde named an alternate captain, but will not skate. We'll hear from him about that in a little bit. But then a bunch of other players on COVID protocol now. And, it's really tough when you're going up against a team like the Las Vegas Golden Knights, who is expected to do pretty well. Again, we'll get into the BetOnline.ag odds, but they have no Colin Blackwell, lower body. Jonas Donskoy is on the injured list. Now, see, this is something that they sent us. I'll show this to you here, but they sent us a list. So Jonas Donskoy listed on the injury list, but not listed among those in COVID protocol. So Colin Blackwell and Donskoy, unspecified reasons. We're going to have to follow up with the Kraken there. But Kalle Järnkrok, Marcus Johansson, Yanni Gourde, Jared McCann, and Jamie Oleksiak. So again, Yanni Gourde also not COVID, but Järnkrok, Johansson, McCann, and Oleksiak. And I've been talking about that Triple J line, which was believed to be the top line, and now they're going to be without McCann. They did bring in Alex Barré-Boulet they got him off of waivers in Tampa. You're going to hear a little bit about that from Dave Haxtell in just a minute. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to play that audio because it was like a funky echo and it got weird. So Zoom, what are you going to do? So we're not going to do that. But at the time, Dave Haxtell was talking about that. Wasn't really sure. Dave doesn't like to show all of his cards, but at the time, they didn't know if Alex was going to be in the lineup, if the travel schedule, all of the things. I'm sure there's COVID protocol and policy that has to be followed, but as I understand, Alex will be in the lineup. So that's going to be tough. Really don't know what that means. It's just unfortunate, just overall, that we're still dealing with COVID. So mask up, make sure that you are keeping each other safe, keeping your loved ones safe. Please, please, please. But aside from that, in the sports context, it's unfortunate because it's the first game of the season. It's unfortunate because it's the first game in franchise history. And it's unfortunate because there was a lot being built in those 6 days of just practice for the Seattle Kraken. And they were getting that chemistry. Again, McCann really liked what he was doing. And then, you kind of this is what you kind of get. So I think it's really brutal. I want to show you this list again, because as I'm looking through it, it's just a little bit, you're going to be all up in my email, but it's just a little bit weird to see how they have it listed here. So you see that Jonas Donskoy here, there's nothing, I don't know if that's just a clerical error or what, but that's what you can see. Some other things, just some notes, these are the game notes. We have game notes. Folks. I'm so excited. But it's Grubauer, 6'4" and 1 career against the Vegas Knights. So that's pretty good. You like those odds. They have the nice little, in case you didn't know, but Riley Sheahan scored the first preseason goal, so we'll be looking out for him. Although I don't know, with the Eberle Schwartz line being a little bit, who's going to center them. Probably Wenberg will pop up, Alex Wenberg, especially because a lot of people projected that's who would center Schwartz and Eberle anyway. But we'll see how that works out. I like one of those guys, though, to maybe score the opening goal, but we'll see what happens. See, there you go. Jaden Schwartz totaled 9 points in 9 career road games against Vegas. So I like those odds. Here we go. A little bit on Oh Captain, My Captain. Of course, you're going to hear that a lot. Sure. All right. I'm going to stop sharing that. All right. Before we move on to the next segment, you saw on that injured list, Yanni Gourde on the injured list will not be participating in the first Seattle Kraken game. But I want you to hear from him. He talked a little bit about I love Yanni Gourde when he communicates, because he's like, I'm just gonna be Yanni Gourde. At one point referred to himself in that way. But he was talking a little bit about what leadership means to him. And while Gio is more of a lead by example guy, Yanni felt that he doesn't really need to change, or that was his interpretation. I think both of them kind of saying the same thing, but I like that. It's like, hey, Yanni's going to be Yanni. I'm going to do what I do. That's what got me here, and we're going to keep it rolling. So, but you're going to hear Yanni talk a little bit about the captaincy, or being an alternate captain. And also he gives an update, which I'm sure everyone will appreciate, on his progress. Definitely a little bit more talkative about the process, if you will, than Dave Haxtell. So let's hear what Yanni Gourde has to say.
Yeah, for sure. But at the same time, we got to practice.
So you heard there from Yanni Gourde, will not be competing in game 1 for the Kraken. Also, the first question he was asked was about just adjusting to all of those players that I mentioned that are out of the roster, him included, although his injury was anticipated. He had off-season surgery. Coming up next on Locked On Kraken, I want to get into the BetOnline.ag odds. We'll go over some of the game notes. Again, it's 0-0, but as you saw in the game notes sent over by the Kraken, some of these players, because by way of the expansion draft, they have a little bit of history. So we'll get into what we're really expecting realistically from this Seattle Kraken team in their first ever game. But also, it's important to see how this team starts, because they're on the road. They are on the road. It is pretty serious. Tough schedule maybe, but we'll see. Anyway, I always want to make sure that I'm thanking you for making Locked On Kraken a part of your first listen. Maybe it's a part of your morning routine, your daily routine. Either way, we appreciate it. But I want to let you know that there is a special NHL preview show, and it's going to be live as part of our Locked On podcast coverage. You've got the Cross-Check live NHL preview show being hosted by Mary Clark and Andrew Berkshire. It's going to be on the Locked On NHL YouTube page tonight. That's October 12th, 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern time. So, in a way, if you want to kind of watch it as a pregame, you can do that. But speaking of pregame, speaking of postgame, I want to give some stick taps also to Emerald City Hockey. We've got friend of the pod, Scott Brendan, there will be some live streams and ways to interact. We over at Locked On Kraken are not going to do that for this game, but definitely going to do some of those activations, especially once I move and relocate and my schedule is a little bit more of my own. So, but I love that we do have some Kraken family that got you covered. And I know I'll be popping in and out. So check that out. But another thing we have to let you know is about, of course, the family-owned business that I love, rockauto.com. We know that we live in a world where you can get so many things online, including this podcast, Locked On Kraken. But you can also order your auto parts online instead of going to a brick and mortar store and maybe going to a store that doesn't have what you need or doesn't have the make, doesn't have the right pieces, or maybe you're trying to match carpet for the make and model of your vehicle. Instead of finding out the hard way, going to a brick and mortar store, or even shopping online for a brick and mortar store where there's limited selection, you can go to the experts who've been serving auto parts customers online for over 20 years. The family-owned business, that's rockauto.com. Always amazing selection, always reliably low prices. So we want you to head over to rockauto.com. Check out what they have for your car, your vehicle, whatever you're riding, however you're riding through them streets. And in the "How did you hear about us" box, type "Locked On" so they know that we sent you. Again, rockauto.com, family-owned business, amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your vehicle will ever need. That's rockauto.com for you. All right, we're back. We're going to talk a little bit about the BetOnline.ag odds. Now, you got to bear with me a little bit. I may have mentioned this a time or two. I am not a betting woman, but I lose money all the time. Literally lost a $20 bill. It was in my pocket. I go in my pocket, and then look at this. This is all I had. It's a single. I don't know what the heck happened. Anyway, so needless to say, until I do a little bit more research, and BetOnline has actually been helping me with that, I'm going to keep my money to myself. But right now, the Seattle Kraken are the underdogs on the money line. I had to look that stuff up, but I figured it out. Let me show you here. In case you want to check it out for yourself. But over on betonline.ag, we have, of course, we're part of a doubleheader tonight. So Pittsburgh and Tampa, you see the money lines right there. So you've got Tampa expected to win this game. Pittsburgh is the underdog. Same over here. Seattle Kraken are the underdog in the second game of the ESPN lineup. I believe we're on ESPN tonight. And the Golden Knights are the favorites. But then you have the puck line. So essentially, as I understand how this works, since in this case, the Seattle Kraken are the underdog, they're given basically like a 1.5 goal swing. So if you wanted to try to enhance your opportunity to win some money and you want to put money down on the Kraken instead of the Golden Knights, the puck line might be the way to go. But please, 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 this is not betting advice. Go to betonline.ag. They are the experts, your online sportsbook experts, as a matter of fact. So they can give you a little bit more of a detailed, advice. They also have the over under here and stuff like that. So I just wanted to bring it to your attention. What do I think about the Seattle Kraken being the underdog? I think it kind of goes with what we've been saying, right? Oh Lord, now you're seeing all behind the scenes here. Here we go. All right, now we got it. Sorry for those who are only listening to the audio. You have no idea what I'm talking about. So actually, let me just do that. The money line, we're at a plus 205 for the Seattle Kraken, minus 230 for the Vegas Golden Knights. That's on the money line that I just showed you over at betonline.ag. Let me pull it up one more again for you. And then you've got minus 118 on the puck line for the Seattle Kraken, minus 102 on the puck line for the Vegas Golden Knights. Again, the Vegas Golden Knights are the team favored based on the BetOnline.ag odds. Same with the Pittsburgh Penguins, the Tampa Bay Lightning are the favored team in the first game. The Pittsburgh Penguins are the underdog. So essentially, if you root on the underdog or if you bet on the underdog, you can root for whoever you want. But if you bet on the underdog and they win, that's kind of what the money line is telling you, how much you can make on your bet. So check that out over there. Again, betonline.ag is one of our sponsors. So if you're listening just to audio, check the link in the show notes because you can check that out. If you are watching on YouTube, thank you either way. But same thing, you can make sure you check out those betonline.ag links. Okay. So yeah, I think it's about where we expect. One, looking at the roster. Two, looking at where Vegas ended last night. I think it's fair to say that Vegas will have the advantage here. Now, of course, we know that there have been some goalie changes for the Vegas Golden Knights. The flower, if you will, is no longer with Vegas. I know that was a little dramatic, a little traumatic for some people. So we'll see how that tandem is going to work out for Vegas. But of course, we're focused on Philip Grubauer. We're focused on our captain, Gio. What? Let's go. I'm really excited for this game. Can y'all tell? If you're watching on YouTube, you see that I'm in my Seattle Kraken sweater, if you will, or jersey, depending on what your flavor is. I think I go back and forth. Oh, these patches. I love these patches. They're so hand stitched. It's so nice. I almost didn't get this because I was like, that's a lot of investment for something that essentially when I'm at a hockey game, I probably can't wear because I'm usually working at hockey games, but no regrets, no regrets. Fear the deep, hold fast, stay true. Let's go Kraken. Let me know. Hit us up on social media. Where are you going to be watching the game from? I know we've got fans international, Kraken across the pond. We've got fans in Las Vegas. We've got people like me that are going to be watching in New York, Pittsburgh, down south. I don't know. Where are y'all at? Let me know over at Locked On Kraken on social media. In the comments if you're watching on YouTube. It's an exciting day. It's not perfect, but that's life for you, baby. It's an exciting day for the Seattle Kraken. It's an exciting day for everyone involved. So congratulations to all of our guests, from JT Brown, who will be on the call, Chanel Keenan, who I'm sure will be watching. You've got Allison Lukin, who will probably tap in to do some analysis. We've got Marissa and Jemmy, who made the trip to Vegas to be able to cover this momentous occasion. Tara Black and the Charlotte Checkers are also getting ready to start their season, and they got to see Alex True get bumped up for this game. We've had so many fantastic guests. Again, I mentioned Scott Brendan is going to be doing a live stream, so make sure you check out Cheap Seat Sports. It's just exciting. I'm excited. I hope you are excited. Again, I hope you're staying safe. I hope you're staying healthy. We didn't get into it a lot with everything happening with Seattle, but I do know that there are conversations happening around mental health and wellness in the hockey loving community. So I want to make sure that you know here at Locked On Kraken, we honor, support, respect you. We appreciate you for making us your first listen of the day. And hopefully we can bring some fun, some love, some light, excitement into your world, wherever you are, whatever you're going through. So I do want to offer that up. But thank you so much. Again, I am your host, Erica Lindsay Ayala. I will be on social media. I'm going to have to take a nap so I can stay up for the whole game, but also the adrenaline's going to be pumping. So I don't know how I'll miss it. I might be a little tired though for tomorrow's show. Either way, we will be back tomorrow to talk about Locked On Kraken. And we have some squad casts coming up because again, we're hitting the road. Actually, let me, before we go, I've got my Fear the Deep poster. Yeah, picked up one of these just as a reminder. So it's Vegas, then over to Nashville. I might stop through Nashville, not for this game, but just like in general on my way to Tulsa. Then we've got Columbus, Philly, the Devils. Now this is my neck of the woods here. So I'm hoping to pop into a road game before I make my move to Tulsa. And then it's the big one, baby. It's the big one on the 23rd at Climate Pledge Arena. Are you kidding me? Let's go Kraken.